Well, I'm here at night in this, try to ignore the background of my surroundings. It's a little bit like a dungeon, but some of you do live in dungeons and basements, and I just thought of Dungeons and Dragons for some reason. I've been hunting dragons, but that's just a symbol. Let's get into, like the modern world, like what goes on right now. Talk about like the things that are in my mind, the questions and the answers, and contemplating how did I get here. That's everything. That's what it always comes down to when you are there and you're thinking about every issue, these subjects, and how does it relate to you? What does that mean? What is it? It's compared or put into the contrast, in that context. That's how I always say, in the context, but where you are the center, and whatever you occupy your mind with, whatever you're focused on, whatever's your challenge, whatever your message to people, where you come on here and say the things you do, or why do I, for example? Why do I pick certain things? And I told you before, previous videos, that why am I talking about that? Why am I talking about the thing that these other people want me to talk about? Because I'm taking it as a starting point, and I segue, or I expand somehow from that. It's like an exercise of mental analysis, a mental exercise. I hate how they take the word mental, and the connotation is that there's a mental health problem anytime you say mental. Actually, mental is a very high word. It's comes from mind, ment. Linguistics is very interesting. I'm trying to study languages. I've been praying for myself to believe enough to learn something. Actually, so what is prayer? And I read a quote from a philosopher. I don't want to name any names, just like I don't really want to name my own name. Well, I do. But I got to put it in the framework of what somebody else said, which is difficult. That's like something in itself, which is changing your mind, because you're preoccupied. You're doing a study of them. And then if you're jealous or envious or too much outside of yourself, you've got to acknowledge that and say, whoa, I study this person too much. I never like that when people do it. When people do that, I say, but you got to follow yourself. Don't just obsess with them and their thoughts. I mean, what is that to you? Oh, wait, so if you do that, to me, that's a sign. I give you a clue of metaphysics and reincarnation, that you were one of their followers. For example, I'll tell you that there is Aristotle. Aristotle has a lot of followers, and today when I recognize them, I see them around, and they don't have to name the name. I know they come from the whole movement around Aristotle. And that's not something that I follow necessarily, but I understand what it is. I've checked it out. I say, okay, that's what the message is. That's the facts that was put together in that lifetime of that person. And a lot of people are still following it, like it's, has so much to it. So it's just a way of recognizing what it is, what part of the spectrum of consciousness it is. But what it always comes to is the highest philosophy, or the highest thought level, is coming from the self, what I am, what it is, and what's happening to me in the middle of all this, and how I choose to describe what all of this is, like what I'm paying attention to. So, I don't need the news to tell me what to think about. I don't need somebody else to tell me. I don't need to look at any books and tell me. I'm only checking that out to know about myself and where I come from. The history that you have is able to make you aware to what you come from now. You don't know where you are. You don't know how it is going on right now in the present moment, where you should be, the now, unless you know the then, where you came from. See, that's really important. It doesn't take you away from now, but you have to harness that. And in that sense, that what I've done with it is take all of the past, ancient past, deep, complex past that no one goes to, threaded the past through, passing through century after century, counting all the years, literally counting how I sit there with math and I do permutations and calculate and do formulas for how I know everything has unfolded up until now. And I trace everything back from now. And therefore, I know the future because I found the pattern of it. I watched the way the planets move. I watched the way that I move. I watch the way that I make things and go into cycles, and I do things, and I save myself, and I get myself killed, and I come back, and then I die again, and I go through these cycles, and I'm thinking, well, what am I doing? Like, how do I break free? As the Buddha said, sorry, I won't quote someone, I'm not going to obsess, but again, it's just making me remember how the profound thought of it, the profound explanation, was that we are stuck in an endless cycle, apparently endless, of birth and death and rebirth. And then, of course, if you want to continue on and you don't hear what came first, the chicken or the egg, the re-death, and then the birth again, the third time, and then the fourth time. And endless means you keep counting it. You would keep counting your lives till you realize, yes, Buddha, I am in that cycle. What can I do about it? Okay, well, you logically have a certain amount of options. But that's all I'm going to tell you right now. If you really want to be my state of mind, if you want to join with me and connect, then keep coming to the videos, and I'm open to everybody coming here, and by the end of the video you probably get the best of what you get. And a lot of people have been doing this for many years, and this is a blessing. With each video that I give you, you are blessed. I know it, and I'm telling you because I bless myself while I do it. I bless myself to come to understand these things. No matter what my condition is, when I'm doing it, where I'm doing it, who I'm with, what's going on, that doesn't matter. That's in the direct short term of what it is. Just the daily grind, you want to call it, or, the practical stuff that you have to do. But then, when you put it into the larger framework, that I am coming up with eternal truth and wisdom, and you get that at the core, or the kernel. I didn't touch it yet. At the kernel of the corn. That is no. Come on, I'm just trying to wrap this up. Here's what I want to try to describe the blessing, what it means that I say I give you a blessing, amen, so be it, and you were given love, and within that is the framework of truth and how it's structured, like the Sephiro of the tree of life, the 10. There's 3 on top, and then there's 7 more. You can even add 2 more to that, another row, to where you get a total of 12. So there's the 3, then plus the 9. So all these things about the math and the permutations. And let me leave you with this. I'll leave you with a mystery, a riddle, because I don't know how else to end. 1,440 years. It's kind of like 12 times 12, or 12 times 120, but the 12 times 12 is there. So this is very interesting about the the squaring or the power of 12. The 12. What is the meaning of 12? It's 1 plus 2 is 3. It's 3. It's a trinity. Does 3 really exist? I know 1 exists. I'm kind of sure that 2 exists. And maybe 3. Possibly. But that's counting. 4, 1,440. 1 plus 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. That's 9. 9. So you mean 1,440 is divisible by 9? Is that possible? Wait a second. Do the division, and I'm not sure. 1,440.